Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics. We're having a look at the undercarriage of this classic Range Rover from July 1981. Now, corrosion on these particular early Range Rovers were notorious, so we're going to have a little look together to check out the condition of this one. So let's have a look. I'm going to turn on this inspection lamp and we'll have a look together. Okay, let's start at the back. So it looks as if remarkably this one hasn't got a tow bar, but most of them have, but it does give us an opportunity to start looking in the usual old areas. Now, anyone who knows these Range Rovers, they'll be aware that they are in fact a body off car. And this is one of the handful of body mounts, and usually I can assure you, I've been a bit of a veteran of selling these classic Range Rovers and owning these throughout the years. The fact that these body mounts are in this sort of condition is a very nice sign. And in fact this whole panel through the back here is in good sound condition. So we're starting with the body mounts. I'm going to look up underneath the panels and just show you that in fact the undercarriage here is sound. I've just spotted a towing plug here, so at some point I'm pretty certain that this one has had a tow bar on, just not at the moment. We're just under the fuel tank at the moment. We're just looking at these rear chassis legs, which are very honest. At some stage it looks like this car has been treated to a thorough wax oiling. But this, I can assure you, has not been tarted up for any video. This is as you're seeing it. Now, I'm looking at the fact that these chassis legs and outriggers here are in very sound condition. I'm just looking up now underneath the rear suspension areas and these inner wings, and I'm seeing a very solid Range Rover so far. Just looking at this back axle, no serious leakages from here, and these rear springs all look in good order. No heavy corrosion to the rear springs, and the rear brake disc covers are in good shape, as are the rear shock absorbers and exhaust pipe. So let's move a little further forward. Now this is to the front of the rear arches, and these are all the original panels in excellent order, and the chassis is very sound through here. These drag links are in good order, as are the bushes. Now I'm at the sort of midway point. I'm looking under the floor pans here of the car, which have all been undersealed and look to be in good order. I'm looking at the offside main chassis member. I can't see any evidence of welding or any welding needed. I'm now looking down the side of the car underneath the sills, which look to be very solid. On these later cars, well, even though this one's an early one, we've got a plastic trim here which would usually cover a multitude of sins. I think I might be able to see the evidence of maybe a little bit of welding, historic welding that looks to have been done perhaps at this front outrigger area onto the sill, but it all looks to be in rather good condition here. I'm hoping you're seeing this okay. Now I'm looking across that cross member which runs underneath the gearbox, which actually is particularly solid. And I'm now looking down the other side, looking underneath those sills. Perhaps a matching repair that's been done somewhere in the region of this outrigger and mount. That's another one of the body mounts there. Very solid through the seal area here, and at this area towards the front of the near side front tyre, all solid. So hopefully you're seeing this as I am. Now we're going to move forward. In fact, this particular gearbox has had a rebuild. We can see some evidence of fresh gaskets here and a freshly painted up gearbox. And you can see the transfer box is in good order. Quite minimal leakage of oil, which is can be a bit of a rarity on these old girls, and again some evidence of the gasket material there, which supports the fact that this car has had a rebuilt gearbox. Now we're moving to the front of the vehicle. Now this is the junction in which the gearbox, bell housing and clutch slave cylinder is just above me here. Looks to be clean. We're at the bottom of the engine and the sump. I can see that it's had a relatively new, genuine oil filter underneath here, and there's the side of the engine and the V8 engine. The core plugs all look quite dry here. We've got a minimal bit of oil spillage, which is exceptionally common on these old girls, and that looks like from somewhere in the sump area, but certainly hasn't been creating any huge drips underneath the car, I can tell you that. This front axle looks to be in good order, as do the front brakes. Front springs aren't heavily corroded. The shock absorbers look to be in reasonable order. And here we're up underneath the pulleys at the front of the engine, and that's all looking relatively dry. Down this side, this one has power steering, of course. And here we are underneath the engine looking up, and all these, the ball joints through the front here look to be in good order. The swivels here look pretty dry, and I'm now underneath the front arches. That all looks to be in good order, as does the valance. And here we are at those front body mounts. They all look to be in excellent order as well. So this is looking like a very solid classic Range Rover. I'm not seeing any evidence of any chassis repairs or any repairs that are required. It looks to be in a very good, honest condition, and it sort of supports the overall car. This is not a heavily restored classic Range Rover. It's a very nice, honest example. And whilst I've got the car on the ramp, I'm going to treat you to a little look underneath the arches as well. And that's all looking very good and honest under there. It's nice to see it running its sort of original steel wheels. We discussed the plastic sill area that we have, and we're going to look up underneath the arch on the front near side. That's looking very solid there as well. I think the car has been treated to a all-over body paint at some stage, possibly some new panels. It's hard to say because they're so straight. Obviously we're looking at aluminium panels here, so you would expect them to be in pretty good order. We're looking at the front near side inner arch. That's all in very nice condition. No sign of any repairs that have either been done or are required. A nice look into the chassis leg here, all in good order. Now the final wheel arch to inspect is the near side rear. And looking up inside, that all looks very solid, nice and honest. I mean, if you were looking to really make some improvements, you could probably have the underside of it all shot blast and all re-wax oiled for future preservation, but that's something which would be optional and certainly not an absolute requirement. So hopefully, folks, having had a look at the undercarriage of this classic Range Rover from July, registered in July 1981, everything looks rather solid. And there she is with a very handsome aluminium slotted grille, and I must say, looking quite fine sat up on our ramp here. Certainly no issues in the normal suspect areas. In fact, all in excellent order around those front and rear body mounts. Well, folks, I hope this little undercarriage video has been useful for your needs. If you require any further information, please get in touch through the usual channels, and I'll be happy to discuss this lovely old classic Range Rover with you. But everybody asks for a video. We have a lot of overseas buyers for these vehicles, so this does prove very, very valuable when it comes to having an inkling of the condition the cars are in underneath as well. Well, folks, that's Danny at Bradley James Classic Cars signing out. Thank you.